Okay, disclaimer, we're about to hear is, and it's nothing to do with running a restaurant. You know how to run your restaurant. If it wasn't, you won't have one. It's about running it in a different way, in an innovative way. The difference between those who thrive from this time and those who collapse will have nothing to do with how they utilize their mind. And this is a time for service. This is a time for creativity. This is the time for ingenuity, collaboration, and flexibility. And I have all the tools to show you how to do that. Success is a system. It's 95% mindset and 5% strategy. Now, who am I? This is me. I'm Liliana Cavaliere Hintz. I was born and raised in Italy. I'm a consultant facilitator for Procter Gallagher. And this is my parents, my brother, this is me, my family, and my parents and I going to the movies in Italy. I was 24 when I came here. This is it. It took a while, but then eventually I got my green card and I was able to stay longer than 3 months. And a few months after that, I met my husband and we got married. I have my son, which is now 42, my daughter, she's 39, and I was a housewife. A couple years after that, I got tired of asking for money to my husband all the time, being a housewife. So I talked him into buying a restaurant that my uncle had. He had a pizzeria and a sandwich place. And for health reasons, he wanted to sell it. So I talked my husband into buying it with no experience into the restaurant business. So we bought Nino's. This is it. And this is how we fix it up years later. Well, we had it for a total of 39 years. And we sold it just a couple months, just a couple weeks before COVID started. So it was pretty much a good luck, very good luck. Anyway, we had it for sale for about 8 years. And the reason being that it took so long is that we wanted cash. We didn't want to let contract. So the buyer came along and we were able to close on the deal in February. And the beginning of March, we went to Florida to celebrate with our kids. They were there and COVID started. So actually I got out of the business with good luck, which there's no such a thing as luck. It's the way your mind works. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So we used to be open 75 hours a week because we got in business in 1981. And times were tough in 1981. We had a real drop in the economy. American-made cars went in crisis. Our local Chevy plant here in town laid off 300 workers in one day, which is 300 families. And so some days we didn't even have 2 customers. And here we are with a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old and lots of bills. And so we were open 75 hours a week in order to make it a go. And my husband and I were the only ones cooking, and we did most of the stuff. The kids were even helping on milk crates, washing dishes. We got even turned in to the labor board which didn't do anything. Our kids were doing it willingly. We were not forcing them or anything. And that's part of our Italian culture, to have a joint operation. So we didn't have a sign for over 25 years. We fixed it up, we bought a liquor license, and we started shrinking the hours because we could no longer close at 3 o'clock in the morning because the liquor license. So we start closing at 2, and everybody had to be out at 2:30. This is my husband and I and our grandkids. This is the grandkids, my daughter, my husband, my son. And the reason we wanted to sell was because after 39 years, and me being closer to 70, and my husband being closer to 80, we decided it was time to enjoy life and do something else. But we loved it. So this is how we created. We pretty much doubled the size and acquire some properties in the back. 2 years ago, we were voted by the public as the best Italian restaurant in the Tri-Cities in Michigan. And MLive voted us number 9 out of 300 Italian restaurants in Michigan. So it was a pretty good accomplishment for somebody who didn't have any restaurant experience like us. Now, this is where the story starts. This is my husband and my son, and this is me. I didn't have the second child yet, and I used to smoke. We both smoked, and every year we're going to Italy to see my parents. My parents never came. So we used to buy a ton of carton of cigarettes because they were really expensive there, and we would take it with us. So one year we decided that we're going to quit smoking. So we didn't take the usual 15 to 20 carton of cigarettes with us. So I lasted 4 hours. My husband kept it up. And my kids never forgive me for that. It's like, you know, he's the strong person and you're not. Excuse me. So a year later, almost a year later, our local hotel had a hypnotist come over to encourage people to give it a try and quit smoking. And I figured, well, you know, let's do it. I didn't believe it was going to work, but I figured let's do it. And I went with a group of people, friends and workers from the restaurant. We decided it was time to cut it out and say, that's it. So to my astonishment, I haven't had a cigarette since April 18, 1988. It worked. And I was just, I used to smoke 2 to 3 packs a day. And it's like, wow, how did it happen? How can our mind do that? How can this guy do that? So I went out and started studying the mind, started studying self-improvement books, started studying all there was to know about what makes us do certain things and what makes us do certain other things. And I got into the Deepak Chopra in the early 90s, Bert Goldman, the Silva Method, Earl Nightingale, just name it. I would buy the cassettes. I was learning English by reading, and that was my favorite topic, became the favorite topic, all about the mind. Now, we think in pictures. And when we think of mind, this is what comes to mind, because we don't have a clear picture of the mind. So if I say, think of a door, a picture of the door comes to mind. If I think of a car, a picture of a car comes to your mind. But mind is not a thing. Mind is into everything of the body. Mine is in your fingernail, mine is in your toenail, mine is in the strand of your hair. All of it is mine. Now, Earl Nightingale was one of my favorite. And years later, I found out that Bob Proctor used to work for Earl Nightingale. Now, Bob Proctor, I'm not sure you saw the movie The Secret, but Bob Proctor was, he started the Proctor Gallagher Institute with Sandy Gallagher. And I want to play this short one for you.
Just recently, I was preparing for a call with a group of people that I was coaching. And I had them submit questions. I wanted to find out the direction that they would like me to go. And I found that without exception, there was quite a number of them. They all had essentially the same problem. There was an imaginary wall that they were running into. They couldn't make headway. And I remember some time ago reading some material, and it was pointing out that our only limitation, yours and mine, the only limitation we have is weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. You and I are creative beings. We're capable of doing absolutely phenomenal things with our life. We're capable of enjoying an incredible life, but we've got to do it ourselves. No one can do it for us. We can get help. I've never read of anyone or even heard of anyone that did anything of any consequence on their own. We do need help. But we've got to be able to focus. We've got to have strength of attention and richness of imagination. The limitation is caused by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. But when you talk about the attention, you're talking about focus. You're talking about bringing all of your conscious attention to bear on the object that you want to reach. Wernher von Braun was asked by President Kennedy what it would take to build a rocket to carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth. He said, the will to do it. You see, the will is a mental faculty. It's one of our higher faculties. We have mental faculties. Most people live through their senses. They go by what they see, hear, smell, taste, touch. We have perception, the will, imagination, memory, intuition, reason. These are all higher faculties. Well, the will gives us the ability to take this power that's flowing into our consciousness and we can direct it. We can bring all of our conscious attention to bear on a given spot. Now, if we have a weak will, that isn't going to happen. We must strengthen our will. It's like a mental muscle. But before we get focused, we have to decide what we're going to focus on. So we want to take the latter, which is the imagination, and bring it to the front of the game. Do you know, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. Now, you and I have an imagination. Do you know that everything you see that has been made by humankind has been first created in the mind? Everything's created twice. The camera that I'm working with right now, it was created in the mind of an individual long before it was ever created in the form that I'm looking at right now. The way we're communicating, that was all created in somebody's mind. Well, do you know that your future, your brilliant future, has to be created by your imagination?
So what happened is that by studying the mind, I learned that you can work smart instead of just hard. Instead of putting in the hours, you can start putting to use the faculties that we have. So secret number one is how to find the right disruptive ideas to increase business and set yourself up for the future by putting that into consideration. So remember I said we think in pictures, and we didn't really have a picture of our mind. So Dr. Thurman Fleet, was born in Texas, San Antonio, Texas. And he was an holistic doctor. And he figured it out that, he said, in order to cure any disease, you have to cure the problem in the mind, because the root of all disease is in the mind. So he was so in avant-garde with those thoughts, that he became so busy with his practice, curing people without giving them all the drugs that nowadays we count on. And the city where he lived had to reroute the traffic away from his house, because it was, some days he had like 400 clients. So he was just an amazing, he figured it out that everything starts in the mind. So if you don't fix the problem in the mind, you cannot figure it out what's going on. So he came up with a drawing to make ourselves know what the mind looks like. And he called it the stick man. So in order to explain this better, we use this drawing. So it's a circle, and there is a line. The top part is the conscious mind, and the bottom part is the subconscious mind, and this is the body. So the conscious mind is the thinking mind. That's what analyzes everything. That's what criticizes everything. It has to think about everything. Now the subconscious is stupid and dumb, and has to accept whatever we feed as true. Now, in order to make me quit smoking, they had to reach my subconscious, because at the conscious level, everything that goes there, it's only temporary. Matter of fact, when you go to school and you learn something, you know, people get degrees and everything else, but everything, it doesn't permanently stays there. It goes away. It does not reach, unless it reaches the subconscious, it's not there to last. So the thinking mind and the feeling mind. And we gonna change, in order to change things and habits, you have to reach the subconscious part in order to make it a permanent thing. Now, we are a mass of energy, and we function on frequencies. So what does it have to do with the restaurant, right? Well, I'm telling you, this is the smart way to operate a restaurant, or to work a restaurant, or to do anything else for that matter, because it's something that you can apply in every aspect of your life. So we are a mass of energy. And Killian came up in the 60s with a camera that was able to photograph the energy leaving the body. Now, the stick figure again. So energy is what makes us choose our thoughts in the intellectual mind. We get to choose our thoughts. And then the thoughts cause the feeling, because they reach the emotional mind. And the feeling causes us to have reactions. The reaction is what the action gives the result. So thoughts create feelings, feelings cause action, actions cause results. So that applies for the restaurant, that applies for selling cars, that applies for relationship. It's what we believe becomes in any aspect. So we choose our thoughts. If our thought is bad and sad, it's time to tell it, you know, move over. I'm going to think something else. So in the conscious mind operates with the 5 senses. We were created with the 5 senses. And we respond to life with the 5 senses. We react to the smell, what we see, what we touch, what we taste and what we hear. And we neglect the faculties they are in the subconscious mind, which are underdeveloped. Now, with the restaurant, I figured it out that, you know, because they say you should go in and ask your inner self, because your inner self knows the truth. But with the restaurant, what we got to do is apply these exactly just as they are. Because when they come to eat, you want them to smell, you want them to see the food, you want them to touch it, you know, touch it with their eyes, you want them to taste it, you want them to hear the environment. You don't want them to hear somebody fighting in the kitchen. And we did a lot of that. I agree, but that's you know, husband and wife working together and being together 24 hours a day is for 39 years. There's a lot to say about that, but we did, and we didn't kill ourselves. But so all we're gonna do is concentrate it into using this 5 senses, which, I mean, it's so simple. How can it be so simple? So we are a spiritual being, and as spiritual beings, we live on 3 levels. We have thoughts that generate ideas, and they create things. We have an intellect, we're spiritual, and we live in a body. You cannot get better than that. So all we got to do is put in consideration just what I said. So Albert Einstein said, when I examine myself and my methods of thoughts, I came to the conclusion that the gift of fantasy is meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge. So thoughts and the method of thoughts, again. So my gosh, here I was working so hard for 75 hours a week when all I had to do is apply my thoughts into what I wanted. So everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Again, Albert Einstein. So we are operating on frequencies. This is the low frequency, you know, when you feel shame, when you feel guilty, when you don't care about something, grief, fear, desire. Obviously, spiritual enlightened people are all the way up there. So we have to consider this same as on a dial on a radio, search for the station that we want. So let's say I'm going to 72.9, it's not aesthetic, I'm making it up. 73.2, this static. 73.3 is finally the station that I want, right? So this is the same thing. We operate on the same thing, on the same principle. Now, let these lines represent the level of vibration. And so let's say we're up here, and our goal is here. We want to fill the restaurant up, or we want to attain something else. So let's say the restaurant, the goal is to fill the restaurant. Regardless, you know, we have we have to operate on 50% capacity, but have to make the same amount of money or more because a lot of things went up. So the results cause the thought is to reach that goal. So our mind and our thoughts are down here on this frequency. We have to raise it up here to be able to make lots of money, because that's how it works. So we make a committed decision that we have to fill the restaurant up. Now, the mind and paradigms. The mind is a lot of paradigms. What are paradigms? Paradigms are beliefs that were put in genetically, created by our environments, created by our parents, created by the teachers, created by our peers. A lot of things. They're not real truth, but we believe it, so we believe it. And sometimes they conflict with what we wanted to do because it's hard to think of something else. So you cannot change existing reality if we have those paradigms, but you can build a new model. So you can build a new model of the person that doesn't have to work 75 hours a week, but can work smart in obtain not only better results, but don't have to work as hard. And actually, that's how it works. So we need to get out of the box. So when we have an outside idea that conflicts with the paradigm, it's a why idea. And then it goes into the subconscious mind where we have all those paradigms, which they are the X idea. And the body responds to the X idea. So it's conflicting because it's not what we're used to. We're used to think about the beliefs that were put in our life, you know, money don't grow on trees, or you have to work hard for your money, blood, sweat, and tears, and things like that. So no, you can work out of the box by using some of the stuff that I'm teaching, by using how the mind works to generate not only good results, but better results with less work. So this is some of the paradigms that in restaurant and in life we are, you know, customers always right. Well, we know better, don't we? Money isn't everything. Well, you can do a lot of things with money. So be happy with what you have. That's another paradigm. Money is the root of all evil. It isn't. I see a lot of rich people and they're happy, so they're smiling. I'm just not good enough with money. That's another false belief. The rich get richer while the poor, you know, those are all beliefs. They're not actual truth. They were passed on to us over the years and they became part of what we believe. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. So all big breakthrough in life have been made by people who think a little different. Well, look at Einstein. Look at the Wright brothers. We won't be flying if it wasn't for them. No? So here's the stick man again. And this is the faculties that I was telling you earlier. And these faculties are actually more important than what's here, you know, than the ones here. And they're underdeveloped. We have perception, we have the will, we have imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. But we live by what we see, what we hear, what we smell, taste, and touch. Well, that's fine, because that's what we're going to concentrate on for the restaurant. This is how we're going to please the customer. And so we're going to use these to create a better experience with this, because that's how it works, you know. So we're going to start using them. Let's start with imagination, you know, get into yourself, go in a room and start creating imagining, sorry about the accent, pops up every now and then. Imagine the restaurant fall, a few minutes before you open, just visualize the restaurant, every table full. Not only full, but everybody is satisfied, people are feeling good, they have a good experience, there's no complaints, everything went well. At the end of the night, you're counting money. I mean, start with imagination. Start thinking about the end result. Don't start thinking about the bills that need to get paid, or the phone's going to be shut off. I mean, I'm making it up. We tend to think the worst scenario. And my husband used to be a policeman. He was a detective and then a sergeant in the police department before he started with the restaurant, and he was operating on adrenaline. So the more mad you get, and the more you get keyed up to start with a rush. Well, and I used to believe that was the way to go. So drink cold pot of coffee so we can face the rush. Is everybody agree with me? I mean, if you're the owner operator, this is what you do. And nothing more wrong than that. Just think. I mean, seriously, there is better ways, much better ways to do that. So you can start with that, and then with the imagination, direct it to what you want to see rather than what you don't want to see, and start applying to create a good experience with your customers. Now, secret number 2, how to build the self-confidence of your current employees and hire better candidates. I know it's you cannot discriminate, but we still have we sold a restaurant. There's still one girl that worked for us. I hired her in 1989. And we let her go a couple times. I mean, she was young, but she was a good server, just that she had a bad attitude. So even though she got fired, and eventually, as I would see her again, she was growing spiritually and intellectually, and I hired her again. And I've done that with quite a few people, because some, you can tell, some are good. And if they have a bad attitude, then you have to let them go. I mean, if they come to work thinking that this is just another way to make money and whatever, you don't want a rotten apple that spoils the bushel. And I know it's discrimination, but somebody with a bad attitude can ruin your business. And I'm sure you all agree with that. And the only way to find out is ask. I don't know, get some comment cards going. Go around and ask your customers, instruct your managers to do that. Don't just go and ask, how was your meal? How was the food? Try to implement a better relationship with the customer. Was this cooked the way you want it? Would you like us to do something else next time? Was the server as nice as should have been? I mean, you have to build a different kind of relationship, because that's what's going to put you ahead of another restaurant right now, because people are afraid to go out and eat yet. So it's going to take time to get the restaurant business back to what it was, if it will ever happen. So you need to build a different relationship with the workers, a different relationship with your clients, because that's really important. You want to apply the 5 senses and into give them a different environment, not just feed their stomach, take the money and go. So what would you like if you were at the table? What would you like? What kind of service would you like? You have to feel as the customer in order to have a better understanding of what you should give the customer to make him come back more often and to feel more satisfied than just go and eat. So to attract the things that I want in my life, this is the mind again, you have to create it in your mind first and shape the mind with that. So again, create that image of the full restaurant, everybody with a smile on the face, they're happy to be back. You know, you're going to please the eyes, you're going to please the nose, you're going to please the ears, you're going to play some good music. Now, we play Italian music because we're an Italian restaurant and I'm from Italy, but the environment has to operate on that vibration, because it's all vibration. And you need to tune in to the right frequency in order to create that good feeling because the feeling is really important for the people sitting down, as much as for the people working there. So again, you have to work with all the five senses and create thoughts that create feelings, and a good attitude that creates results into everybody that works there. So a good attitude comes from a good self-image. And now is the self-image formed? It's inherited. The people close to you influence you, and society. And some people have low self-esteem. And if they have low self-esteem, I'm sorry, they're not going to be that great with the customers. No. So we have three essential questions. How does the self-image impact my life? How is it formed? And now is it changed? So this is the baby with the same stickman figure. And the baby is like an open ball. Anything you tell the baby goes in. Anything the baby hears goes in. Anything the baby eats goes in. A baby doesn't tell you likes broccoli, but it eats broccoli because the mom feeds him broccoli. The baby doesn't tell you it's cold. The mom is cold, so the mom covers the baby. And it cannot, it just, everything goes in. And that's what creates the baby. So the baby is the product of everything going on around him, plus a little bit of genetic, a lot of the environment, and everything else. So we become a product of our environment. So again, you have to put that in consideration when you hire people. You can screen them. When you screen them, it's not just to see how honest they are, but it's a whole package, because that creates the attitude. And the attitude is going to reflect into your clients. And you can have the best food in the world, but if it's being served by somebody who has a really bad attitude, that is not going to serve you as you want it. So your self-image was handed down to you when you were really young, and it affects everybody. So you're dealing with the negative limiting beliefs, you know, when you want to do something different, and there's your belief comes up and says, wait, who am I to do this? It will be really hard. You know, what will others think of me? What if I fail? I don't want to be greedy. Well, we need to get out of the box. We need to get out of the box, and if we make a plan that we're going to do this in order to generate a better experience for the customer, because that's more important than bringing the people in. Let's please more the people that have been coming in. And in order to do that, we literally have to get out of the box. We have to start putting our wheels to use and start figuring out what to do that we haven't done before in order to make him want to come back more often. So again, it's your attitude. Attitude is your perception of something. And when you change your view of a situation, place, or thing, and when you change your attitude, everything in your world changes. So if you imagine the restaurant being full and your drawer at the end of the night, your credit card statement, it's better than what you thought it's going to be. You're going to have a good attitude to start with right from the beginning. And if you get your workers to start thinking with this attitude, to start thinking in this way, and then you're going to have nothing but win, because they're going to have a good attitude. I mean, just visualize that they're making the tips that they wanted to make right before you even open the door. This is it. Start thinking that. So be who you were meant to be, and you will set the world on fire. You were meant to be a positive person. You were meant to be an optimist person. You were not meant to criticize everything you hear or doubt that the restaurant's going to fill up, or doubt that you're going to make it, because thoughts create things. And if you think that it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. You know, everything starts with your thoughts. And you have to feed in the good thoughts from the beginning, the positive thoughts from the beginning. Because again, we operate on frequencies, we operate on energy, we are energy. So you have to start from the beginning of the day with the thought that it's going to go just as you want it. Everything is going to run smooth. There isn't going to be any disagreement. There isn't going to be any complaints. And that's it. That's how it's going to be. So there's laws. And the laws are that if you're going to reap what you saw. So if you saw doubt and indecision, you're not going to operate on a calm environment. So, and if you yell at somebody, everything is going to be negative around you. So, and then you operate on cause and law and effect. There's laws that we operate by. Winter follows fall, and spring follows winter, and so on. There's laws. So if you start the day by being crappy and moody and upset, I'm sorry, you're not going to bring a good day at work. This isn't going to be a good day. Because even if your patrons are satisfied, they're not going to have that feeling, that good vibration. They're going to make you want to come back again. So your ability to live the good life is dependent on your level of awareness. And it's not down to the intellect, it's down to awareness. So to make you understand the difference, I would like if you can close your eyes for just a few minutes and imagine awareness is a ball of light. Just close your eyes and imagine a ball of light. And imagine the last time you went on a great vacation. Was it a beach vacation? Were you excited the day before? Because usually we get more excited the day before as we're getting ready to go. Were you excited the day before? Were you excited that day? Was it a family vacation? Was it with your significant other? Did you spend a lot of money? Did you come back rested and satisfied? Now think of the last wedding you went to. Was it a relative? Was it friends? Was it a good match? Do you think that they're gonna last forever? Did you dance? Did you do the stupid chicken dance? Did you get drunk? How drunk did you get? Now, think about when somebody really close to you passed away and the pain you felt, how sad you felt. Was it a relatives? Was it a best friend? I mean, it was something really, really upsetting. It always is when we lose a pet or when we lose a relative or a friend. It's always a sad moment. Now, open your eyes again and let me explain something. That ball of light was your awareness, and I took it to a different location in your mind. I took it into the happy vacation room. I took it into the wedding fun room. I took it into the pain room with the death of someone. So we are the ones directing our thoughts and with their awareness. And they create the feelings. And these feelings are the ones that create how we feel and how we act. Because if you start thinking about when that person passed away or when the wedding, how much fun you had at the wedding, how much fun you had at the vacation, you see the difference on how you want to move that consciousness to create the day right before you open your business, right before you start your shift, right before you get to keyed up the people working for you, because that's really important. And remember, you're the one directing them. I just prove it to you. Your consciousness is what does it. What room you're going to take him to, because you are the leader, and you're going to lead them into the right room so everything runs smooth. You're going to lead the customer into the right room with the consciousness. That is your job. And that's more important than putting in all the hours. Use the mind. So sync the mind with what you want and the feeling that it creates. That's really important. So secret number 3, how to increase revenue by building vibration with what the customers want. Create positive customer experiences and memories, just the way I explained to you. Well, you can do this. You can create curbside wine, get your wine on, pre-order and prepay for contactless pickup if they don't want to, come in. Stay home but run out of wine. We have a great selection for you and offer free delivery. That's another idea. You can have a Bloody Mary basket, for $30. But you can be creative. You can get your restaurant orders online and earn 20 to 30% extra on each order. You can do a picnic kit. The purchase is giving you the ultimate picnic experience, barbecue, whatever. You can come up with a lot of things. Or you can start using your mind, start creating a good experience for the people that do come in, that they've been coming in and they're going to come back. And you want to create even a better experience than they previously had. Because now that it starts from you, and now you direct that consciousness, that's going to set your mood, which in turn is going to set the mood of your workers, and they're going to set the mood to the customer. And the customer, together with the ambience music and all the right vibration and the food, obviously, they're going to have a better experience than they ever had before. So remember that energy is, you choose your thoughts. Your thoughts cause your feelings. Your feelings in the emotional mind cause your action, which creates the condition, the circumstances, the environment, and ultimately the results. So don't ever forget that. Never forget. That's the recipe. That's the recipe for success in any business, in any relationship. Doesn't matter if it's your children, your spouse, your partner. That's how it all works. That's what I discovered when I went out and tried to find out what made me stop smoking. How does the mind work? What is the mechanism that we operate on? Because unfortunately, they're not teaching that in school. You have to learn on your own. And not everybody has the desire to learn on your own. So you need somebody that teaches you, that coaches you, and that points it out, that guides you in the right direction with the proper methods to learn to work smart, not just hard. So we're operating on vibration. We have the good, and we operate on the frequencies. So let's say you have the frequency where if you're used to making this amount of money, you're always going to think with that amount of money. I mean, it's all, this is how it works. Everything is in frequencies, everything. Now, we have people with positive energy. Do we all agree with that? At work and as customers. And people with the positive energy are healthier, more productive, and they're happier. And they generate more business because people are going to request them. And then you have people, and these are the people that are always, oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. And then you have the people with the negative energy. They're not as productive. They're not as happy. And they're not as healthy. And nothing goes right for them. Everything goes wrong for them. And those are, I'm sorry, they're the bad people to have. Oh, I don't know what happened here. They're the bad people to have working for you right now. And these are the people that always have everything bad happens to them. The customer complains, they drop food on the floor, they fight with the chef. They're having a bad day just right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. And I know, I worked in a restaurant 39 years. I know how it works. So most people are in between. They do not know how to direct the energy, and they do not know that they can. So they go with the flow, but they go nowhere because they have no direction. They need the direction. If they have the proper direction, they're going to make lots of money for you. So they need to be guided. They need to be guided in the sense, like I said, there's more to it than just feed my stomach and I'll leave the money and whatever. You have to think at the long run. You're going to create that experience where they're going to want to come back. And the way to create that is by giving them the full package. So the server's got to understand how it works. The chef's got to understand how it works. You got to understand how it works. And you have to direct it all. You have to create the experience that you want in your mind first, and then in your feelings, and then in your body, and in your dining room. I had this on the freezer for a very long time. And when somebody had a bad attitude, I will tell them, you know, take it outside, step on it, come back inside when you feel better, you know. But I will tell them in a good and laughing mode, you know. I never yell at the workers during open hours. You know, you can do that afterwards and after work. You can fire them if you want. But the best thing to do is if there is an attitude or something, and I think pretty much when you own a restaurant, you know, that's like, I don't have to teach you recipes. I don't have to teach you that. You know that. The point is that you don't want somebody with the wrong frequency, with the bad vibration, stick around and spoil your bushel. So we saw Einstein, now you see Nikola Tesla. He says the same thing. If you want to find the secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Oh my gosh, and here we are putting in all this long 75 hours a week when the secret was right there. It is right there. There's the vibration, the Earth's vibration scale. We have people with the lower frequency. We have the people with higher frequency. And if you stop and think, you know, the crappier your mood is and the worse your day's going to go and the worse the customers are going to feel, and the food is not even going to taste good to them. Doesn't matter how good the ingredients are. It all starts with getting on the right frequency, on the right experience for everybody. I mean, you don't have to know the frequency in that sense, but I'm telling you, everything works that way. Everything. So feeling is an emotion, and emotion is energy, and energy is magnetic. If you want to find the secret of the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Albert Tesla. So energy is magnetic. You're going to attract what do you put out. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't ever forget that. So everything is made up of energy, and that energy is vibration. It's vibrating at a certain frequency. Your job is to match the frequency of what you want. You want everything to start and finish smooth. So you want the dining room full and the customers happy and all your employees happy and the people coming back and the money's there. You have to start from the beginning. Each and every day, do a walk around in the dining room. Kind of sense the air, sense the vibration. Start visualizing what you wanted to see at the end of the day. Tune up the music, tune up the look, sit at one table, the next day sit at the other table. These are things that a lot of people don't even go in the dining room. A lot of people are so busy just coming in at 9 counting the money. No, you have to create an experience. If you want them to come back post-COVID or any other time, you have to create the experience from the inside out. So you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration with everything. So you change that frequency of that energy to the frequency you want. And life is a manifestation of where you invest your energy. Just like that consciousness, that ball of light in your mind. You're directing it. You're directing it with you. You're directing it with your employees. You're directing it with everything going on inside of you, with your thoughts. So start paying attention where you invest your energy and where you send your thoughts. Because energy is like water. You can compare it to water. So when you go outside to water your garden, water cannot differentiate. Water is going to feed weeds as well as flowers. Water is going to feed whatever you set it in. And the energy is the same way. You have to direct it. You have to create the good energy. Because if you don't do that, it's not, you can feed the right and you can feed the wrong. You're directing it. Because like water, it doesn't know which way to go. You're directing that water. So you have to create the new you, the one that doesn't have to work as hard, but it's going to work smart. And the smart starts in you. The smart starts into understanding your own mind. Because when I got hypnotized, and I'm not saying you need to get hypnotized, but when I got hypnotized and I developed this desire to find out how everything in our mind works, I didn't just open a new window in my life. I opened a new window, I opened a new elevator, I opened a new door, I opened a new life that is, each and every day is just astounding, the things that I can create. You know, from that to being able to sell it in just a few weeks before COVID started, and being able to stay in Florida long enough. We just got back 4 days ago. We just got back just in time before the new cases came out. I mean, it's like you learn to tune in such a way that you know exactly what to do and when to do it. So I like to thank you for being here. I hope you learn a thing or two, and I hope you can apply it not only into your business or in any business, your relationship. And I want to tell you grazie in my native language. And if you're interested into knowing more, if you have questions for me, if you want to know how this whole thing works and evolves, you can book a complimentary 30-minute discovery call with me. I can tell you more about it. I can find out where your goals, and I can pinpoint to you how you can reach them. And if we're a good match, I can coach you into reaching them. It's all up to you. And there is a link in the chat where you can find a link to my calendar and book the complimentary call. I really enjoyed teaching this because it's amazing. And I'm still studying every day. It's like there's no end to it. The more you know, the more you want to know, the more you play with your mind and learn how to direct it and how to get what you want. And we're creating the image of God. We have so much potential that we're not using. It's just astonishing, absolutely astonishing. So you can also point your QR code reader to that and book your free coaching call with me. I thank you for coming, and I wish you lots of business, a full dining room, people waiting in line, and social distancing respected, and lots of money and lots of business. And I hope I open a good window into your awareness. Thank you for coming. Arrivederci. Ciao. Hey, I'm reading the notes. Thank you so much. Wow. Highly recommended by my ex-coworker. The business is what. Oh, wow. We're in Michigan, Bay City, Michigan. The name of the restaurant is Nino's Family Restaurant. You can Google it and check it. She bought the name and the recipe, and she has the same workers, and business will come around same as it was, or better. And just apply everything that is to learn other than just work hard for living. Thank you. Have a good night.